Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in from across the continent and beyond. We have such a huge audience today, and a big thank you from both of us here at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants for joining us. Now, for many of you, it's your first program ever. For some of you, it's your first program of 2026. Welcome in. Welcome back to class. We had 365 programs last year, and we are just getting underway in the swing of things with some really epic broadcasts featuring the coolest scientists, explorers, and places on planet Earth every single day. So please do head to our page, head to our YouTube channel. Everything we've ever done is there. You can check out this one in like 3 weeks or 3 years, any time that suits you. Lots of fun to be had. Now, before we dive in with today's topic du jour, I want to note two things. Number one, we have a Kahoot today. So between our talk and our Q&A, you can play along with a little 4-question quiz in the middle. So if you want to pull that up on a separate tab, you can do that. We'll get to that in about 25 minutes. And two, I'm particularly excited of all the days you could have joined us that you came today, because today we are continuing our epic peak discovery series with the amazing parks of Parks Canada in British Columbia and Alberta. These are some of the most special places, not just in our country, but in the entire world. So if it's your first peak discovery program, check out that pin below. There's so many cool programs happening in the next 3 weeks. Bison, bears, fire, more. There's more to come in the months to come. We just love Parks Canada. It's always such a pleasure. But today, we are heading to meet Lori, educator extraordinaire, to talk about habitat heroes, invasive species threatening some of our parks. I think no matter where you're joining from today, you might have heard of invasive species, invaders coming in from elsewhere. And today, we're going to learn how we can be habitat heroes to help prevent them impacting our amazing ecosystem. So, without further ado, I'm going to zip it. Lori, thank you so much for joining us for, I think, the 90 millionth time. It is an exact figure. And welcome into the broadcast.
Hello, bonjour, welcome everybody. Bienvenidos to those that speak Spanish. I hear we have some folks from Panama in today, which is amazing because my mother is just on a trip to Panama right now. So shout out to her and her friend traveling there. All right, so hello. And just as a way of introduction, I work for Parks Canada in beautiful Banff National Park. So maybe let me know in the chat if you've ever visited Banff or one of our beautiful national parks in Canada, or a national park where you live. Now, Banff is home to some unique and remarkable creatures, but some of these creatures are having a hard time to live in Banff because of invasive species. So today we're going to explore why invasive species are such a big problem and how we can become habitat heroes to protect this beautiful park. Now, let's first take a moment to acknowledge that Banff National Park is within the present-day territory of the Treaty 6, 7, and 8 First Nations, as well as the Métis homeland. The lands and waters of Banff have been used for millennia by Indigenous peoples for sustenance, ceremony, trade, and travel. We thank them for their continuous stewardship and for sharing the land with us. Now, what is Parks Canada all about? Well, aside from being where I work, it is the job of our Parks Canada team to look after Canada's natural and cultural heritage. So let me know in the chat if you've ever visited a National Historic Site maybe as well. Yes, I see Jesse says he's been to Banff. Banff is the best. Thanks, Jesse. These are all places that Parks Canada takes care of. So it's our job to protect animals, plants, landscapes, and historic sites now and for future generations. And one of the principles that guides our work at Parks Canada is called ecological integrity. It's a big phrase, right? But that just basically means that an ecosystem is healthy and balanced. And this includes both living and non-living parts, along with all of the processes that they need. So in the Rocky Mountains, some of the non-living parts of the ecosystem are things like rocks, glaciers, wind, water, and sunshine. And we can see the living parts of the ecosystem all around, like plants, animals, fungi, and even bacteria that we can't see. And tying all of this together are the processes of life: birth, growth, reproduction, death, and decay, as well as non-biological processes like seasons, avalanches, fires, and floods. So when everything is in place and functioning in balance, we call that ecological integrity. Striving for this balance guides every decision that we make at Parks Canada. Now, what is something that makes Banff a special place to you? Maybe you see some ideas here on the screen. Let me know in the chat. So in Banff, there are many beautiful places to visit and many animals and plants that are found in these mountains. Banff National Park is home to 53 species of mammals, over 311 species of birds, 844 known species of plants, and 18 fish species. This incredible diversity of wildlife reflects the wide range of habitats found in the park due to variations in elevation, climate, and plant communities. But sometimes alien species will invade the park and harm the plants and animals that make Banff so special. Now, what do you think of when you hear the term aliens? Aliens from outer space? Well, at least outside the space that we call Banff National Park. Now, there are some plants and animals that are living in Banff these days that are not originally from Banff. We call these non-native species. And when they cause problems in the ecosystem, then we call them invasive species. They can be found on water and on land. When invasive species are introduced to the environment, it can cause problems for native species by eating their food or taking their homes or spreading illnesses. Often, people are the ones responsible for bringing them here. Now let's meet one of these alien invasive species. It's one you've probably seen before. The goldfish. Let me know in the chat if you've ever had a pet goldfish.
So many goldfish. Hundreds in my time when I was a kid.
You ever dump them in a pond, Jesse?
I did not. I behaved. Actually, I mean, they sort of ended their lives peacefully at the end. Yeah, no ponds, I promise.
Okay, excellent. Well, you know, these cute little fishes are a great pet to have at home, but they can be harmful if they're released into an outside body of water. They can reproduce really quickly and make thousands of baby fish. And when there's that many goldfish, they take up a lot of space and eat all the food that native species need. And they can grow to be huge. So Jesse, that cute little goldfish that was this big in the bowl at home can get to be this big. Goldfish are not originally from Canada. They're considered an invasive species in Alberta. And when they're added to new lakes or rivers, they uproot plants and they destroy habitat for the fish that do belong there. Now, you can be a habitat hero by never dumping any pet fish into a wild water body. In Banff, we want to protect aquatic ecosystems because they're an important part of many animals' lives. Aquatic ecosystems in Banff are home to living things like bugs, plants, algae, and of course, fish. Rivers like the Bow, the Red Deer, the Clearwater, and the North Saskatchewan all flow from their headwaters in the Rocky Mountains. The water from Banff provides a source of life in many places for many species. In the national park, we protect two endangered fish species, the bull trout and the West Slope cutthroat trout. These two types of fish are listed as species at risk because they face some big threats in their aquatic ecosystem. One of these threats is called whirling disease. So let's take first a look at a healthy West Slope cutthroat trout having a little swim here. There he goes. Now we can see this is a beautiful fish. She's swimming normally. Now let's take a look at a young trout that has been infected with whirling disease. Oh, let's go back here and see that clip. There he goes. This is a whirling disease fish. He cannot swim properly. You see how he just goes around and around in a circle? That's where whirling disease gets its name. Now, whirling disease is a teeny tiny parasite that causes sickness in fish. This parasite does not belong here. It was brought here and it causes damage. So we call it an aquatic invasive species. This image is of fish that were infected by whirling disease. Now, does anyone see what looks wrong with the fish? Well, let's take a closer look here. What looks different from the normal healthy fish that we saw just a moment ago?
I'll say too, so our StreamYard crew and YouTube classes, if you guys want to chime in the chat anytime, I know we've had a few interactive bits, so feel free to get in anytime. And yes, we've got coming in the back, the tail, the weird marks, that's interesting, the color, bendy shape. So the color and the bendy shape are our two main things.
Yes, well done. Well spotted, everybody. That's right. So we've got the body and the tail are bent, and the tail is a really dark color. The tail kind of goes black. So because of the bent body, this fish is forced to swim in a circle. And this makes it really hard for them to swim properly and find food. And this makes a lot of young fish die, and it actually can cause a population crash. So these are the most obvious signs of whirling disease. Now, in 2016, whirling disease was discovered here in Banff National Park in Johnston Lake. Now, lucky it is not harmful to humans or other animals, but the lake still had to be closed so that we could remove the infected fish. But invasive species like whirling disease are extremely difficult to remove. In one part of its life cycle, it becomes a tiny spore that can live in the mud for years. And we can't see them or scrub them away once they're in the lake. Whirling disease can spread really quickly and easily, just like our next example of aquatic invasive species, zebra mussels. These are just like the whirling disease in the sense that they're not native to Canada and they cause damage to the natural ecosystem. Now, looking at these images of zebra mussels, what are some things you notice about them? What do they look like? What do you see?
Let's see what we got. To me, they look like little mussels. I don't know.
They are little mussels.
Yeah. I don't know.
What do we think about the shell? Do you think these would be nice to step on, Jesse?
No,
No way.
I can genuinely say, before we even dive in, I have stepped on these before, and it is one of the worst things I've experienced. It's not pleasant at all. They look like rocks, sharp rock. Yep, bumpy and rough. Very good.
Yeah.
Everyone, nice.
And they're little. They're about the size of your pinky fingernail, okay? And they're kind of a triangle shape. That shell, you're right, is super sharp. We definitely don't want to step on a colony of zebra mussels with your bare feet. So let's just look here. And they're really small, right? So there can be so many of them. Here we see a lot of zebra mussels attached to this boat propeller and the buoy here. Now, why would this be a big problem? Or what types of problems do you think that this would cause?
Yeah, we've got
zebra mussels. What do you think?
Oh no, sorry, we've got boat won't work, or like propeller won't turn. Yep, we've got So that's a really good one with our boat example there. We talked about sharp cutting your feet earlier. So a few key problems for this many mussels on things.
Yeah, exactly. So they can stick to any solid surface. Oh, they might eat away at the material. Oh, well, you know what they do is they actually filter feed and they suck all the nutrition out of the water that they're living in. So it makes it really hard for other species to live there. And on top of that, these types of mussels can release up to 1 million eggs a year. What? They have no natural predators, so their population can absolutely explode. Now, when they stick to boats like this, it's very easy for them to travel to places, new lakes and rivers, and find food and lay more eggs to make more mussels, which causes more problems to the local environment. And although they are an aquatic species, these mussels can live outside of the water for up to 30 days. They just close their shell and keep all the liquid inside. And this means that there is a higher chance of them finding places to stick to and spreading to other bodies of water on boats like this. Now, zebra mussels and their cousins, quagga mussels, cause huge problems in the lakes that they invade. So some of the problems we talked about already, they steal all the nutrients in the water. This means that other plants and animals in the water don't have enough food. And mussels stick to so many places that it makes it hard for fish to find places to lay their eggs, and makes it hard for those baby fish eggs to survive. Their sharp shells wash up on the shore and cut your feet, right? We talked about that. They also like to stick to other native mussels, and that can kill them. and they are really difficult to remove. They cause damage to boats and pipes, and it takes a lot of money and effort to get them all removed. So just like any other invasive species, it's almost impossible to completely remove and eliminate them once they're in a new place. Now, water activity equipment is the most common thing that can spread invasive species to other lakes and rivers. If it is used in an infected body of water, the zebra and quagga mussels could stick to it just like in the pictures before. And even the tiny parasite that causes whirling disease can be carried from one place to another within puddles that stay in boats or gear, even on fun floaty toys like this flamingo. So if people don't clean their equipment, invasive species can catch a free ride to the next lake or river that those things go into. In Banff, Parks Canada monitors the lakes and rivers by testing the waters. But the most effective way to protect Banff's lakes and rivers from any invasive species is prevention. Invasive species do not belong in Banff, and they shouldn't be brought here in the first place. So how do we prevent those invasive species from getting here? Well, we have clean, drain, and dry as a protocol. So we clean all the dirt, sand, plants, and things like bugs from your boat and gear after you're done using them in the water. Then we drain all the water from coolers, buckets, or places where there might be water before you leave the lake. Remember that water can carry tiny bugs or parasites you can't see, so it's important to get rid of all the water. Finally, we dry the boat and gear to make sure that there's no more water at all. And following these steps plays a very important part in preventing those alien invasive species from harming the lakes and rivers in Banff. And that is how you become a habitat hero. Now, what about on land? Habitat heroes need to be on the lookout for invasive plants on land. These plants can damage the ecosystem by taking all the nutrients from the soil. They can impact the growth of other plants, including trees. And trees, of course, really important to provide shelter for wildlife. Now, on this side, we have some of the beautiful native wildflowers that we want to protect in Banff, but among them are 2 invasive plant species. Does anyone want to take a guess which ones the invaders are?
Ooh. I should remember this from our time we did this in the past, and I forget. And I'm going to guess, personally, like truly guess, that the bottom left is invasive and the bottom right is invasive, but that is just a shot in the dark. What do we got? We've got bottom, we got bottom left. We've got upper left and middle. Okay. Yellow ones, maybe yellow is a little weird. Any other guesses? Feel free to chime top left and top right, upper middle. We're all over the place, Lori. It's chaos.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's okay. I will let you in on this. So our actual invaders are the top middle and the bottom middle. There we go. The Canada thistle and the tall buttercup. So these ones, the Canada thistle, it's quite common in Banff and it's pretty, right? But what are some things we notice about this plant? We've got, let's see, what do they look like? They have that purple flower. It's quite prickly and they're quite tall. They can grow about 1 meter tall. So keep those identifiers in mind when you are out in nature and see these when you go outside. Oh, lots of seeds to spread. Yes, very good observation there. Yes, they do make a lot of seeds and they're borne by the wind. So we definitely want to try and keep these thistles out of the area. Now, they grow really quickly. They love to grow in dry areas, which makes Alberta a place they can easily grow. And it causes a lot of problems for native plants. They can take up all the nutrients and don't leave any for other plants. And if the other plants don't grow, then that affects the food source for animals like deer. And it also affects the plants that us humans like to eat. For example, canola, barley, and wheat, these are all crops that we grow in Alberta. And now it is important to mention that we do have native thistles in Banff. Native thistles do provide pollen for insects and seeds for birds, but this particular thistle is one that we don't want. Now, the other one is the tall buttercup. That is common to find in Banff. It can also is very tall. It grows about 90 centimeters tall. Now, unlike the thistle, this wildflower spreads through producing seeds, and one plant can produce up to 250 seeds. The seeds can stick to animals' fur or clothing or fall into rivers and easily spread to other places. Now, this plant causes problems because it is a little bit toxic. Touching one or two flowers won't hurt you, but if you have long contact with this plant, or for animals, especially cows, if they eat it, it can make them sick. Or if we have too much of this plant on our skin, it'll give us a rash, make us very itchy. So again, with cows, it can affect the amount of milk that they produce, change the color of the milk, or even the taste. So most of the time, the animals know they shouldn't eat this plant, but it also means that there's nothing getting rid of this invasive species. So there's many ways that Parks Canada tries to control the growth of and get rid of these invasive plants. We can dig them out of the ground. We can spray chemicals to kill them. But since there's so many all over the place, it's difficult to kill all of the invaders without affecting other plants in the environment. So again, prevention is our best option. So here's how we prevent. We play, clean, go. So first, we remove any plant material that's stuck to our shoes, any mud that might hold seeds, and we remove that from our gear as well. Any bags, equipment, pets. Sometimes Fido has a little bit of mud stuck between his paws. Good idea to clean that off before you go home. So you want to brush off your boots, prevent carrying plant seeds into another area. And then you want to clean your gear. Make sure that you have cleaned it after your last hike, and think about cleaning it before your next hike. And we want to stay on the designated trails that are made for you to hike on. And that means that we're limiting how much we disturb the natural environment and decrease the risk of carrying seeds and invasive plants to other species. And that's how you can be a habitat hero. Now, we protect and preserve some rare tree species in Banff, and the one that you see here is called the white bark pine. They grow high up in the mountains near the tree line, and they are special because they help lots of animals in giving them food and homes. And the white bark pine makes seeds that bears, squirrels, and birds love to eat because they're full of protein and fat. And if you've ever tasted pine nuts from the grocery store, they are just that rich and delicious. And white bark pines keep the ground steady and hold on to snow, which helps other plants get water and stops floods in the spring. However, these trees are in danger because of a tiny insect called the mountain pine beetle. The mountain pine beetle is a naturally occurring insect of the Rocky Mountain ecosystem. It's native to these pine forests, and it's been around for a long, long time. So it is a native species, but it's recently become invasive and harmful to the ecosystem because they're out of balance. They're overpopulated, and they're killing lots of trees. So these are some images of trees that were affected by the beetle. And looking at these pictures, what do you notice about the trees? Do they look healthy and green?
Not really. Pretty brown and weird to me.
Yeah. And what about on that trunk of the tree? What do you see there? Some weird little blobs, hey?
Yeah. Very like little yellow. They look like something that I'd have in like my arm when I go to the doctor.
Needles of the crowns of the trees that are infected by mountain pine beetle, they dry out and they turn red. And then we also can see bubbles of sap on the tree trunk where the beetles have dug into the bark. So they often look like blobs of chewing gum when the tree is trying to pitch the beetles out. Now, how do mountain pine beetles kill trees? The mountain pine beetle is only about the size of a grain of rice, but when they move into a tree, it's not just one beetle, it's thousands. And they use their sharp mouths to dig tunnels under the bark, and they make spaces where they lay eggs. And after hatching, the baby beetles tunnel sideways into the tree, and this cuts off the tree's food delivery system so it can't get the nutrients it needs. Originally, the mountain pine beetle's role in nature was to help renew the forest by removing larger trees so more sunlight could reach the space below. And this helps other plants grow and recycles nutrients back into the soil. But with decades of controlling fires, trees have gotten a lot older and bigger, making them too close together. And this makes it easier for those beetles to spread to more trees. Now, another reason why there are too many beetles is because of climate change. When it gets super cold in the winter, it can kill off a bunch of beetles. But because of our changing climate, the winters are not cold enough to kill beetles anymore. Now, fire is the main tool that Parks Canada uses to control the beetles. Some parts of the forest are burned on purpose to remove the beetles' habitat and recycle nutrients. Crews can remove infected trees by burning or cutting them down. Now, this needs to be done before the adult beetles fly away from where they were born to find new trees. The cut trees are then destroyed by burning or peeling off the bark. So mountain pine beetles can still live in firewood after it's been cut. And one way we can help to prevent the spread of these bugs to more areas is by not transporting firewood. If people bring firewood from another park or area into Banff, they might accidentally also bring beetles or other types of bugs with them. So in order to prevent the spread of the beetle in firewood, Parks Canada asks visitors to follow the buy local, burn local protocol. This basically means just buy firewood locally. Grocery stores and gas stations in Banff sell it. Don't need to bring your own firewood. And leave behind any leftover firewood. If you're using it at your campsite, you can leave it there for the next visitor to use. So even though that mountain pine beetle is native to this Rocky Mountain area, we don't want it to get out of control and kill too many trees. So buy local, burn local, and be a habitat hero. To protect all the special things about Banff National Park, we need to work together to prevent invasive species. We want to preserve the natural environment while we enjoy this place. So let's review the important things that we can do to prevent invasive species. So to protect fish from whirling disease and the zebra and quagga mussels, we're going to clean everything that was used in the water, drain all the water out of it, and make sure it's dry before we use it again in another water body. How do we prevent invasive plants from spreading to more places? We are going to play clean and go. We're going to remove that plant material, clean your gear, and make sure to stay on designated hiking trails to prevent seeds from spreading. And to prevent the spread of invasive species through firewood, we're going to buy local, burn local, and keep those beetle numbers down. By remembering these guidelines and working together to prevent invasive species, we can all become habitat heroes. So thank you for joining me today to learn about what you can do to play your part in preserving the homes of so many special animal and plant species in Banff National Park.
Oh, thank you so much, Lori. And we've introduced so many people to Banff for the first time with this program too. Like so many of our classes have not seen this, which is really fun in the chats. We're going to dive in with our Kahoot, see who is paying attention, test some understanding, have some fun. So we're going to dive in with that. Lori, if you want to help us out with any hints along the way, you're welcome to. I think we've already got, what do we got? 48 people in the Kahoot already. We're going to give you guys a few more seconds to get ready, and then we are going to dive in with Q&A. So anything you want to know about today, anything you want to know more about Banff, please do. We're going to have a nice long question period, and then if you have any extra questions at the end, you can pass them along to me at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, and we will get them to Lori. Well, for those who are new to Kahoot, the faster you answer, the more points you get, and what you win is Lori and I's everlasting respect. So let's dive in and do this thing. Lavi is our reigning champion for the Kahoot. She's here today, so she is the person to be dethroned for every other class. Banff National Park is in which Canadian province? Who was listening at the beginning? Ontario, Alberta, BC, Quebec. We got so many Americans today. This is your Canadian geography lesson. I will say too, as this picture's up, Lori, this is Moraine Lake. This is like the picture that Canada presents itself to the world and is one of the most beautiful places on planet Earth I've ever seen in person. It is
Yes, it
unbelievable.
almost doesn't look real. Oh, well done. Well done. A bunch of you got Alberta. That's right.
And I want to stress too, like that is the color of the water in real life, and it doesn't look real when you're on it on a canoe as well. Like it's a crazy place.
Yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous.
All right. Eager Unicorn has our lead over Epic Parakeet. Question 2. A species introduced to a new area it shouldn't be always takes over. If I bring a lion to Alberta, suddenly there's going to be a million lions. Is that true or false? What do we think? Think of it that way. If you brought an elephant to the Arctic, would the elephant take off? This is an important thing. It's a tricky question, but I really want to stress this because the answer is false. Most things that are introduced fail. Like a habitat and ecosystem has the species that are there because they've adapted to it. So 99% of the time when something comes in new, it dies. The native animals outcompete it. But sometimes, like a zebra mussel, it can be really, really catastrophic. They can take off in a really big way. So I'm glad we got that message in. Bronze Quokka takes our lead. We've thrown the leaderboard into disarray. It's mass chaos. All right. This is a multi-select. So there's more than one right answer. It might be 2. It might be all 4. Some examples of invasive species Lori mentioned include quagga and zebra mussels, goldfish, whirling disease, or lake sharks.
Well, what do we think?
And then I've got a picture of like a caribou just for no reason. Just to throw you
elk.
off. Is that an elk? Sorry.
That is an elk.
Oh, no. Oh, man.
It's okay. You've got caribou out in Newfoundland there. We don't have any in Banff right now, except for the very northern part of the park.
So funny. Almost everyone nailed this. Lake sharks would be super cool. Alas, none in Banff, and hopefully never to be. Jubilant lobster takes lead. Oh my God, this is the craziest Kahoot we've ever had. All right, the handy phrase for helping avoid spreading invasive aquatic species is swim, drink fish, stay away from the park, clean, drain, dry, or only paddle after dark.
Ooh, I like the rhymes going on there, Jesse.
Thank you.
I think swim, drink, fish sounds like a great weekend.
Yeah. All right, 4 more seconds. Don't stay away from the park. Go to the park. Have fun in the park. Yes, clean, drain, dry. You guys.
That's the one. Well done, everybody.
All right. Let's see what our thing is. By the way, I don't know why. I don't even know the context of this, but in YouTube, one of the comments is "Yay failure," which just makes me happy. Thanks, Miss Krim, for that. Number 1, our winner is Jubilant Lobster. Oh, I think I know who won because I can see them jumping up and down like crazy people. Way to go, guys. Miss Bilau's class, you guys rock. All right. We're diving in with questions. I'm going to go one by one through all our groups. We'll try and get 2 rounds. Please share on YouTube as well. But we will begin with Mr. Alston's class right down the road in Alberta. If you guys want to unmute your mic, come on in and take us away with our first question. Hey, Cougar Cubs, welcome in. Let's see. Questions. Come on up. Dun, dun, dun. Hey.
Hi. Is a zebra mussel like an alive thing?
Ooh.
Yes, it is definitely an alive thing. They make lots more of themselves, so that the zebra mussels make up to 1 million more of themselves every year. Yeah, definitely alive.
Wow.
They're filter feeders, and they basically intake water. They basically eat all of the nutrients out of that water column and leave nothing for anybody else. So yes, they are alive.
But it's a really cool question because there's a lot of things in water, fresh and salt alike, that look like a dead sharp rock. Like that is a very common thing in the ocean and lakes and rivers and whatnot. So I like where your head's at. But 1 million more is a lot of other zebra mussels. That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Lavie, North Carolina, come on in, unmute your mic, take us away. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
Excellent. Thanks for coming on and asking a question. What would you like to know?
Well, I was wondering how common is whirling disease, and do you have a cure for it, like an anti-parasitic?
Ooh.
Wow. Congratulations on anti-parasitic. I'm very impressed. We do not have a good cure for whirling disease at this moment. It's really difficult to get out of water bodies once it has been infected, because the whirling disease has got a very complicated life cycle. part of its life cycle, it lives in wiggly worms that live in the mud. They're called tubifex worms. And when they leave the tubifex worm, they have changed shape, and they're called a tam. So this tam shape can get into the gills or circulatory system of those salmonid fish. So trout, salmon, whitefish. They can infect all those types of fish and give them the bent tail and the blackened tail. And then they're infected with whirling disease. Then when that fish dies, the whirling disease goes back out into the water in the shape of a little spore, and then that gets eaten up by the worms again. So this little spore shape is very durable, and it can live in the mud for years and years and years. So there's no good way to treat this disease once it gets out into a water body. The only way that we've been successful doing this in Banff so far is in Johnson Lake. We removed all of the trout species, which broke the life cycle of that pathogen and of that parasite. So there's no more parasite because there's no more trout. Yeah. So if there's a thing missing out of their life cycle, they can't continue. So we actually did remove whirling disease from Johnson Lake because we removed the fish.
Every fish. Crazy. Like what a scorched earth solution to try and fix a problem. Effective. Yeah. But I want to encourage her. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, it worked. And we were able to actually reintroduce the native white suckerfish that do belong in that lake. So it was kind of a cool story of reintroducing a species that should have been there, but it wasn't. Well, it survived a lot of things. There's a whole other story on that.
Whole other program.
Enough for another time.
Tell us more about it. I will say for our classes today, if you want to be absolutely horrified, but in the coolest way, I encourage you to look up animal parasites in general. It's like the weirdest, like things that affect people are kind of weird. Things that affect animals are really weird. So you should check it out. It's very cool. All right.
Look up mango worms.
Yeah, I will. George Long Elementary, our Kahoot winners. Grass Lake, Michigan. Way to go, guys. You guys rock. You guys, that was amazing. Unmute your mic. Come ask a question. Tell us more.
You guys excited about winning?
Yes.
Yes. Well done.
Back up a little bit.
Right here, Max.
Back. Keep going. There you go.
Hi.
Do lampreys live in Canada?
Say again?
Do sea lampreys live in Canada?
Cool question.
Sea lampreys. Well, being that Banff is a landlocked mountain park, I'm not a super expert on ocean life.
We do,
but I'm pretty sure we do have them, right, Jesse?
Not only do we, but I will say, and you can stay tuned for this. Let me actually find the date for this for our class. We're going to have live lampreys on camera, maybe actually like sucking someone in like a few weeks. Like I'm really pumped for this. Yeah, I know. Oh, you got like a stuffed lamprey. Why do you just have a lamprey? Your class rocks. You guys are cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, they're a really freaky creature, and we can cover that more, and I'll try and get you the date in the chat as soon as I can. But let's head to main room 9. Come on in and take us away with a question, guys. Hello.
Hi. Go ahead, let's be questions to listen, okay?
What is the most invasive species at the
So, like, what's your most invasive species?
Ooh, great question.
Yeah, so I'd say the one that in general we're pretty concerned about in Canada is those quagga and zebra mussels, because they have spread from pretty much they're moving their way west. So far, hopefully, we have not yet noticed them in the lakes in Alberta or British Columbia. But we do have them as far west as the province of Manitoba, and they're in those big lakes, Lake Winnipeg and Lake Manitoba. It used to be you could walk right into the water, and they had beautiful sandy and pebble beaches at these locations. And now you have to wear water shoes to go into those lakes, because if you don't, you'll cut your feet to shreds on the mussel shells. So that is one that's a really big concern. They're really hard to get rid of. They've invaded the Great Lakes. They've invaded our biggest lakes in Manitoba. And we really don't want them in Western Canada. So that's why this Clean Drain Dry, we're really excited that people are learning about it and raising awareness that this is a big concern.
Yep, it's a really, really good question, guys. Thank you so much for this. And I will say, the one time I cut myself on zebra mussels, I was scuba diving. I was about 50 feet down, and what I learned is that if you cut yourself underwater, the blood does not come out red. It looks like a totally different color because red light can't make it down that far, which is really freaky and weird. But there's a whole other science lesson in there for you.
Cool.
Lori, we're going to take one or two from YouTube, and then we're going to do one more round with everyone if we can, our rapid fire round, because I know some of you have to go in about 5 minutes. Miss Roberts, what do we do if we find an invasive species? It's a great question.
Yes, you should report it. So if you're in a national park, come to our information center and report it. If you're in a provincial park, likewise, go to the information center, or you can look up where if you're just sort of generally out in your province or state, you can report it to the appropriate authorities there. Definitely want to know when these things show up.
Yep. We had Asian carp come to Toronto basically when I used to live there, and I reported that. Like, I was kayaking, saw that, called the authorities, and then they announced that they had Asian carp in Toronto, and we were very sad to find that out. So it's the best thing you can do. Tell a professional. It's the best thing for a lot of things in science, actually. Paleontology, archaeology, just call someone who knows what they're doing and can help.
Yes. And, like, that's so important. That whole citizen science aspect is you can get involved, and we appreciate when you get involved and let the experts know, because we can't be everywhere all the time, right? And having most of all those other eyes out there helping us and being aware and reporting things is so helpful.
Nice. There's only one Lori. We wish there were more, but there's only one of you. So there we are. We're going to do one more round with everyone. Mr. Alston, come on in first. Take us away, guys. Hey. Let's see. Hello. Or if Mr. Alston. Oh, there he is. Hello, Mr. Alston.
Hello. We're coming. Sorry.
Come on, Audrey. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, Audrey.
How many animals do you know that are endangered?
Ooh, endangered.
Oh, yeah, there's sadly about a dozen in Banff National Park that I could name, and there are many more around the world. So yeah, one of our jobs at Parks Canada is to make plans to try and protect those animals and try and raise the level of their, increase their numbers and help to protect those species. So that's why we study what we do, and that's why we want to try and keep these invaders out of the area so that we can protect the habitat of these endangered species.
I want to highlight for our kids that there is something called the green list, which is literally species that were endangered that we've worked really hard on, and now they're not endangered. And the green sea turtle was just put on that list recently. So we've done such great work with the green sea turtle. We have brought it back from the endangered species list. So very, very cool. All
Amazing.
Right, Lavie, come on in, take us away. Miss Balau's class next, and then Maine will wrap up with you.
Hi.
Hey.
So
My dog's excited now.
So my other question is, how can we learn what's invasive here in NC?
Ooh, in North Carolina, how can they learn more about what's invasive there?
In North Carolina, well, I am not sure what your resources are there. I would start with a little search online and look to your local nature authorities. If you have a nature center near you, or if you've got a park, a natural area nearby, I would maybe start there and ask some questions and see how you can help to protect nature where you are.
Yep. States and provinces pretty much universally have really great guides for the local wildlife and then things that are coming in. So you can just look up your state, look up your province, wherever you are on this planet, and there's some really great research. There's a lot of nature nerds like Lori and I that are out there putting these things together. So do check it out, and you'll find a lot more. Michigan, we're heading back to you guys. Come on in, unmute your mic, take us away, lamprey class.
Hi, my name is Levi, and my question is, can invasive species help the environment by removing others? How can it help by being invasive?
Okay, Jesse, I have to ask while we're waiting, what's your dog's name?
Sadie's the name, and that's an amazing question, Levi. So we've never had that in the history of Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. Lori, take us away.
Sorry, I didn't hear the question at all.
Oh, I'll share it with you. Can invasive species help in any way? Like, is there any way that you could have an invasive species that would be beneficial, maybe by removing something else, like another invasive species? It's a really thoughtful question. I love it.
Yes, that is an excellent question. And it whenever we sort of play around with nature and take things out of an ecosystem or add things to an ecosystem, there's often unintended consequences. So I'm thinking about, situations in Australia where they introduced the rabbits, right?
Yep.
And thought, oh, rabbits are great. They can provide meat, they can provide fur. This is an awesome species. And then they end up just completely taking over. And then they introduce another thing to try and deal with the rabbits and so on and so forth. And it just becomes this cascade of learning about how ecosystems work. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Australia. Hawaii is a great American example where the same sort of deal, like people brought animals that weren't meant to be there and they took off. And then often the solution, like what a lot of scientists have thought of historically, is like, hey, let's bring in the predator for that, or the infecting agent for that, or parasite for that. And it can work, but it can also lead to a lot of unintended consequences that you don't want. So historically, the places that have had a lot of invasive species, Hawaii, New Zealand, Australia among them, are really, really strict now in the world for preventing anything from coming in, because you don't want to be in that position where you're sort of playing a game to try and can we wipe out the rabbit we brought in? It's not good for anything involved, but it historically has worked occasionally. So it's a nuanced answer. So don't bring in anything new. If you do, sometimes it can work to bring in something else, but don't do it. That's our
sometimes the predator that they bring in to clear out the unintended explosion population of something is not at all interested in the rabbits anymore. They're interested in some other native species. Yeah. So it's a lot. It's like you say, nuanced and complicated.
Great question. Super, super cool. I know we could go all day, folks. If you do have any extra, please do email them to me. We'll pass them along to Lori. But our main crew, we're going to wrap up with one more with you before we say a big farewell. Come on in. Take us away.
What's the rarest animal in Banff?
In Banff. The rarest animal. Good question.
Well, I have to tell you about an endangered species called the Banff Springs snail. They live only in the hot springs in Banff National Park, nowhere else in the world. So sometimes you could fit their entire population into a 1 liter Nalgene bottle. That is how few of Banff Springs snails there are in the whole world. So they're very unique. They're really cool and they're cute. They're about the size of your pinky fingernail. And if you listen at the Banff Hot Springs, you can hear them burping. They have a little lung flap called a pneumostome. And when they open it, it goes pop. And when they close it, goes pop. And it sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies.
Thank you for that very niche reference at the end. I will say, when you go to Banff, you're blown away, right? You go and you're like, oh my gosh, it's a mountain. Oh, it's an even bigger mountain. But there is a place you can go and see these, and it's really cool. It's the Cave and Basin Historic Site. It's in Banff. It's so fun. I encourage you to go check out the snail in person if you're ever there. It's a great time. Lori, this has been so much fun. Thank you for your passion, expertise, all of it. I will stress for our classes, check out the Peak Discovery channel. We've got so many more programs, including one tomorrow. So there's lots to explore in the weeks to come. Before we bring in the class to say thanks and farewell, is there any final message you want to leave us with today?
Well, I just want everyone to be aware of those invasive species. We want to be really careful when we're moving our stuff from one place to another and being sure that we're not inadvertently carrying something that we shouldn't be to a new place, because a lot of the cases of these invasive species are the case of people bringing them to new locations. So, we've never been so mobile in history as we are these days with international jet travel, and it's so easy to get from one place to another and hop in your car and go to provinces over, and by moving ourselves around, we can be moving a lot of things unexpectedly as well. So just to be aware of that, and really make sure that everybody around you knows about that too, especially the clean, drain, dry with aquatic invasive species.
No better message than that. Thank you so much, Lori. And as you know, we're going to bring in everyone to say a big thank you and farewell. So Mr. Alston's class, La Vie, Ms. Palau's class.
Thank you.